guys, Spin Pixie here, and today I am going to be doing the Extreme Tag, I believe is what it's called, brought to you by They Said Rock and Roll, and she posted this on the Biophilic Alternative this past week, so I'm going to be doing a response to the tag, and it's only 4 questions long, and so here we go. First question, what is your most extreme divination result? I'm going to start by saying that I read most things these days with the Fairy Oracle deck, and this deck is my favorite deck in the world because it's no bullshit. Like the answers are funny, but they're real. And I love this deck because it's given me some of the best, most honest, most pull your head out of your ass kind of answers that any other deck has ever given me. So that deck is what I read for my friend with. I had a friend, former friend now, but I had a friend at the time, and she was going through a lot of turmoil, and she wanted to know if she was going to get this job that she had applied for because she was afraid of how she going to pay her rent, how is she going to survive. Basically, she needed this job. So I did a reading for her. I did a pretty long reading for her with these cards. And I did a reading for her, and I read my Oracle deck the way that I would read a tarot deck. I don't read it any differently because I like the answers that these cards give, the definitions of these cards. So I read it like a tarot deck. So I did a very long reading for her, and in this reading, I got everything from start to finish, and I told her most of it. I wrote it all down. I always write down my readings. I wrote it all down, and I told her most of it. But I did not tell her all of it because she wouldn't listen at the time. So I figure perhaps if I just hold on to this, and then when she's coming into this part, I'll show her the rest of it, because she's just probably going to lose the spread, and I won't be able to, remember it for the life of me. But I'll just hold on to it, and I'll tell her what I've read, what I got. So anyway, she gets the job. I told her she was going to get the job, and I told her that she's going to do well in the job for a very long time. And so that's exactly what happened. She did get the job. She started doing really well in her job. It was not an easy job, but she got it, and it did work for a while. Then I had to leave where I was living at the time. Nothing bad, just I had to move for a while. And so I ended up being her roommate. And during this time that I was her roommate is when things got really bad for her. She became amorous with someone at work, or enamored with someone at work, and then they became amorous with each other. And it's like I was watching her, she would tell me her stories from the day, and I'd go back to the spread, and I would just be like, yep, she's right about here. She's on card number 4 or whatever. And so then at some point when it starts to get bad, I actually pulled the spread out, and I said, okay, look, here's your entire reading from start to bottom, and from top to bottom, here it all is. You need to pay attention because you're going down this road, and just letting you know. So she's like, yeah, well, it says I'm going to get fired, I'm probably going to leave my job, because it's my fault. And she goes, and that's not going to happen. And, like, the cards literally told me she's going to get this job, she's going to do well in this job, and then because of a lack of self-control, she was going to lose this job. And it was going to, it may bring about a relationship, but it'll definitely bring about the loss of her job. And then the relationship will fizzle out shortly after. Like, basically, cut and dry, that is what the cards said. And basically, cut and dry, that is exactly what happened. Because very shortly after, she did lose her job because of things getting very salacious around her at work and people knowing her business, a little too much of her business. So, yeah, I mean, it played out like exactly as it did in the spread, like card for card. And that's happened with me a couple of times, but that was just like the most extreme thing that I can recall. So moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is, what is your most extreme spell result? My most extreme spell result would probably have to be involving the little monster that's sitting next to me. Did I scare you? I'm sorry. Back in October, my dog had some problems going to the bathroom, so we took her to the vet, and the vet's like, I can do x-rays just to give you some peace of mind. He goes, but let me tell you, I know what's wrong. She's got stones in her bladder. He goes, listen, and he was making them clack together. Like, he could make them clack together. They were so big. They were roughly about the size of quail eggs. And they were big. And the surgery was going to be about $1,800. And I had no clue how the hell I was going to come up with $1,800. Like, I'm one of the people that believes in having a pet fund. Like, whatever change I have at the end of the week or whatever, I'll throw into my piggy bank. And whenever my dog or my cat gets sick, use that to take care of expenses. But nowhere, even if I saved my whole life, I could not just save $1,800. Life gets in the way too often. So the vet was nice enough to bring it down to $1,400. So I'm like, that's great, thanks, a whole bunch. But where am I going to come up with even $1,000, So I got home, started a GoFundMe campaign, and then I went to my altar, and then I did a spell. And there is a particular ritual that I use in times of crisis. And because I've put so much belief and faith into this ritual, because I only use it at times of crisis, it generally works for me. Shortly after I did this spell, my GoFundMe campaign perked up just a bit, but what really kicked in are the charities that I had appealed to. Normally it takes an animal charity weeks or even months to help with a request. The charities that I went to helped me in hours, days. I left the office on a Thursday, and that following Thursday she had her surgery. And I was not only able to raise enough money to get her surgery, but through the charities, someone was nice enough to donate a doggy dental to get her teeth cleaned. So I not only got her surgery, but I got her teeth cleaned, which is pretty expensive. So yeah, that would be an example of a spell working to an extreme degree. And I am grateful because I still have this little monster here. And I don't know how I would have done it without a little bit of work and a lot of bit of magic. So that is my extreme spell result. So question number 3 is, most extreme request as a witch. This one is funny. My sister-in-law, many years ago, was seeing this guy, and he got a little stalker status. And at some point, she just told me, "You're a witch, right?" She goes, "Well, I want him gone." So, "What do you mean gone?" She goes, "I want him gone. I want him dead. I want him gone. I want you to kill him for me." And I was like, whoa, that's a bit extreme. I mean, considering, he hasn't done anything to harm you. But she said, "No, I want him gone. I want him dead. I want to end him," basically. And I was like, "Well, you do that. Here's how you do it. I'll write you the steps, but I'm not touching that energy. Thank you. And plus, I was very, very Wiccan at the time. And, yeah, the harm none. I was really adamant in that. Especially when they've done nothing to me. Or anyone that I know. Like, you know. So basically, I told her what she had to do. And if she chose to do it, that was on her. She goes, okay, well, I'm going to do it, but I want you there. I said, okay, well, I'll stand there. I'll let you do what you do, and I'll stand there. And so anyway, I told her, but you need to be clear. You need to state your intention clearly. So you need to make sure that whatever you ask for is what you want to happen. And know that it will come back to you. So, she said, I want him gone. I want him gone. That's as far as she ever got. I want him gone. So, she did what she had to do, and when it came time to state her intention, I think she stated exactly what she wanted to have happen, which, again, was, I want him gone. So, after her spell, probably within the next week or so, we started seeing less and less and less of him coming around the house, and then he just stopped coming. So probably about 2 months later, she tells me, I just saw him at the mall with another girl, and I thought he was gonna die, and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, well, technically, you just wanted him gone. So that's what happened. He is now gone. So when I told you to be clear about your intent, you should have been clearer if you wanted something more. She goes, yeah, well, I guess you're right. And it was never spoken of again. But I think that request, it counts as pretty extreme. And then question number 3 is, what is your most extreme... Oh, I'm sorry, question number 4. Any other extreme experiences you would like to share? Okay. So I have a story of extreme discrimination that ends happily. When I was probably like 17 or 18, like when I was in high school, my friends and I, we would go to the park and we would just celebrate our friendship and celebrate being witches and celebrate just being, you know, girls. Just celebrate it all. You know, we had these little butterfly ceremonies that we would do. We would try to do once a month, or if, you know, if things got really chaotic, once every 3 months, but we would do them quite often. And, so we would each do our little, you know, we would break off if we needed to go off and do our own little spell work, but we'd always have a fire at the end, dance around, listen to music, and have a potluck and stuff like that. And, when we were doing this at one point, apparently some residents or some park goers got a little too nosy and decided they were going to call the cops on us. Well, by the time the cops had come, we were already driving out of the driveway, and they pulled my friend's grandmother over. And she's a very elderly-looking woman. So the fact that they still stopped us, even though we were already going home and there was no damage and whatnot, I was a little surprised. Well, they wanted to search our properties, and my friend's grandmother was not much help. And so we didn't know our rights, you know, we didn't know we had the right to have our parents present and whatnot. And that they could not search us without any sort of probable cause, because there was really nothing, you know, we didn't do anything. There was no damage to the park or any signs that they would need to search us for anything. So anyway, they went through our bags, they went through my friend's bags, and I had an unopened bottle of champagne. And it was representative of something I was doing that night. I wasn't actually going to drink it. It was just kind of a representative of what we were, you know, what I was doing personally for my work. So, they found that in my backpack, and they're like, oh, looks like someone's going to juvenile hall tonight. And they're like, oh, no, it's not open. Like, they were disappointed that they couldn't arrest me because it wasn't open. So they're like, well, you know, we're going to have to confiscate this. And I'm like, and? Like, okay, that's fine. You know, I get to go home. So, you know, But then they found my grimoire. And it had a lot of stuff in there. A lot of really personal stuff. And I was a kid, you know, so they're reading stuff that my parents would never even read. And he was reading stuff out loud. And like, oh, you're a witch. Oh, we better be careful. They're going to turn us into frogs. Ooh. Like, seriously, they did this. Grown men to young ladies, to little girls, basically. They did this, okay? And so he's reading, you know, parts of my grimoire out loud. And, you know, it was just the vehemence that ran through my body at the time, and I was cursing and casting and just bad, bad, bad his way, you know, like the evil eye or whatever, you know, just casting some major shit that was going to fall into his future for invading my privacy, for belittling my religion, for all the things that he was doing that night. And basically just acting like an arrogant asshole who had a badge. So he let us go because there was no reason for him to hold us. There was no damage or anything visible that even said that we had had a bonfire, except for the ashes of the fire. So anyway, we ended up going home, and the whole way home, I was just like, my friends were trying to talk to me. I was not saying anything. Just, you know, it was, you know, I was just in a whole other plane. And I don't know why out of all of them, my grimoire he read. Because he didn't read anyone else's. They almost went, like, immediately after my bag. So anyway, I went home, and I never forgot his name, and I never forgot his face, and I never forgot anything of that night. And a few years later, like, I was out of high school at the time, and I found out indirectly from someone I knew that he was fired from his job because of some shady dealings that he had been doing, involving some pretty heavy stuff. So he was fired and is no longer a cop. And so I felt vindicated at that time because I thought, well, I'm hoping that it came with an extra little kick in the ass from me. Because I was asking my friend everything, you know, are his eyes this colored? Is his hair like this? You know, was he from this department? You know, I was asking specific questions, and my friend's like, yeah, according to so-and-so, this is exactly what happened. And, yeah, and I've seen him around because he was a local guy. I've seen him around, never in a cop's uniform. And it just felt so good. And I was just like, you know, I really hope, you asshole, that it came with an extra kick in the ass from me. Because that was a total invasion of privacy. It was a discrimination against my religion. And, yeah. So, that was a pretty extreme case of harassment, if anything, and discrimination. But it ended happily. So, I'm a happy camper because you don't fuck with a witch, damn it. Now he knows. So anyway, those are my answers to the extreme tag, and I will leave the questions in the description bar, and you are all of you, each and every one of you, tagged. So please do this tag. I would love to hear your responses, and I look forward to watching them. So I will see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.